Namaskar, I'm Ashok Vyas, and as you see on the screen, I'm joined by two giants. And I would request Padma Shri Dr. Sudhir Parik to introduce and welcome Padma Bhushan, as well as decorated in several ways, and someone who has contributed in a very significant way. Dr. Parik, time to welcome and greet Dr. Prathap Reddy.
Hello, good evening, Dr. Reddy, Chairman of the Apollo Hospital. It's my privilege and honor to welcome Dr. Prathap Reddy, founder of the Apollo Hospital and pioneer in bringing the state-of-the-art hospital medicine in India many years ago. Dr. Prathap Reddy is my mentor. He's my guide, mentor, and he is also one of our colleague or co-founder, founder of the Global Physician of Indian Origin, which has 1.2 million Indian doctors outside India. So, Dr. Reddy, our media group is the largest media group in the North America, with the 4 periodical newspaper, 3 in English, 1 in Gujarati, as well as ITV Gold, which is 24/7 oldest TV channel in North America. And we are now also partner with the Doordarshan India, and we are giving the platform to Doordarshan India indirectly to Government of India to put their views and their narrative in the Western world. So please welcome Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Prathap Reddy. Welcome, please.
Thank you, Sudhir. My heartiest congratulations first for you. Your channel, I still recollect, I think in Long Island. I don't know if you remember, for more than 40 years ago, when I visited, and you started then and today, whenever I come to US, automatically I will see you at least spend some time to see your channel and get updated with the world, not just about India. I think you bring everything to the global news to the forefront of the audience. My heartiest congratulations. I'm also happy that you have received your Padma Shri. My good wishes for you. And I hope you will do many more things. The channel, the media is playing a very important role in everything, and in healthcare, I think it's got a bigger role, especially in today's context. I want to congratulate my congratulations for the way your media has developed. And today, I'm happy you are saying even in India you can connect and will be a global player. God bless you.
Thank you, Chairman. I will please excuse me so you can continue your conversation with Ashok Vyasji. Thank you, Ashokji.
Thank you very much, Dr. for joining. Dr. Reddy, it's like a dream come true for me to be talking to you. And before we venture into the formal part of our interview as is for the television, there is a personal connect that many people feel with you due to your vision and your warmth and your ability to see beyond the visible. So you don't see problems as problems, but you have a will to overcome them, not just individually, but collectively. And our viewers will learn more about Apollo Hospital and what significant contribution it has made in several cities of India. I am personally a beneficiary of having seen some of my friends at Apollo Hospital and the kind of facilities that this provides. I come from a city, Jodhpur, and I was present when this was inaugurated there. So now my question to you, as a child, everyone has her set of limitations as well as imagination. In your case, if you go back in your memory lane, what was in the mind of Dr. Prathap Reddy at the time of his formulating years, please?
I think, first I must congratulate you. It is no praise for me. I'm as good and, as each one of us. are. I think only thing is my attention was focused in somewhere else. And this is what I brought up. As I say, I come from a village close to then Madras. Today it's called Chennai, about 100 miles from here. In between Bangalore and Chennai is my village. I come from there. I did my education there, and then did my medical medicine in Stanley Medical in then Madras and today's Chennai, and moved on for post-graduation to UK, then landed up in US. I was in Massachusetts for a couple of years, then went to Boston, did my cardiology fellowship at Mass General. I was very famous. Then went back to Springfield, Missouri, and was working there. And this all happened. One of those days, I used to write to my parents regularly, send them pictures, especially if I buy a new car. He loved cars. So whenever I buy a new car, I used to put my children on it and send the picture. In one of those days, the reply was normally given by the agent. Agent will say, so-and-so conveys your good. But that day, 1969, I still recollect, so it was some October, some date. He personally wrote a letter saying that whatever you are doing, two are very happy, meaning my mom and him. Suppose if we can do something back home and make people, what you have learned, if you can give it to them, how will that be? He didn't say come back. He said, how will that be? Immediately, my wife said, it's time that we go back.
Yeah. Allow me to request you to share name of your father, and I think we are indebted to him immensely, and thanks to him for putting that seed in your mind.
My father is, Aragonda Raghava Reddy. Aragonda is the name of the village. So whenever the serpents are called with the name of the village, so Aragonda Raghava Reddy. My mother's name is Sakuntala. They were divine to me. They loved me so much. Whatever I am today, I think I owe everything to them. It is what they have brought me up. And when I was in college too, he never thought I'd become a doctor. He suggested, why don't you become a businessman? So it so happened that I appeared for the medical interview, got a seat and got a place in Stanley Medical College in then Madras, and then became a doctor. So I think it's all, I owe everything to them. The love that I received from my mother and the fathers, everyone respected him in there because of his integrity. And his word probably was the last word because everyone trusted him and he delivered what was close to his heart. So I think some of it I owe it to them, my father and mother, who gave me whatever I am today.
So with you, I would also add that you owe it to your wife also. She agreed, because once you are in America and the comforts of this place and the system, which has less hurdles for people, very few people go back. Actually, people keep on dreaming that one day I will go back to India. But there are very few examples like you who went back and did what they thought is pulling them back. So that transition period must have been very interesting, Dr. Saab, when you are looking forward to going back, and here you have a settled life, and you mentioned about having nice cars and bungalows and a lot of opportunities of growing materially. But that's, as your father said, is more about you. Now, how was the thought process at the time? You must have also had a certain sense of uncertainty at what am I going to do going back there, the way the system functions, and so whatnot. So talk to us about how this crystallized.
My wife, Sucharita, I told you immediately, Sucharita said, you must go back. I said, what? He said, yes, I think it's time for us to go back. We have been mentioning it also, talking about the parents. It's about time that we give back something for what the parents want. And my four daughters, I have four daughters, all four of them are below 12. None of them had a voice to raise saying, no, we love America. They enjoyed, they did everything that's available for them and full of fun. At that age, that's all they'll do. They're good at school, but good at having fun too. So this is the transition when I decided to leave and then resign whatever I was doing and decided to come back. It was no son. I never imagined what I can do in India. It was the only way saying that if parents suggested, maybe I must do this. It was probably within me, which was just got ticked off by father's at 4 lines that he wrote. So when I came back, I never knew what it would be. And I came back here, then I realized there was nothing available here. Medical equipment, even if you want to buy EKG or monitors and things like that, these were all very expensive with a custom duty of nearly 300% plus, so on and so forth. So in any case, I've come back. So there was close to my house, there was a new private hospital that was being opened. So I started practicing there, and it didn't take me long, maybe a couple of years. I started picking up practice as a cardiologist, and who from across who used to come for cardiology treatment. I'm talking about this is 1970. When I started my practice in Chennai, then Madras. Madras, when I started practice in 70, very few things were available. So when I had all of these, and people used to come to me with chest pain and other heart problems. But there was, as a cardiologist, you have only certain limitations. You can diagnose, you can give medicines. If the medicines do not act, even then we had what is called the surgical option. I was not a surgeon, I'm a purely cardiologist. The surgical outcomes in India was not acceptable to me. So most of my patients I used to send to my good friend, Dr. Denton Cooley in Houston. He's a very dear friend of mine. I have great liking for me, he had equally great liking. So whenever my patient goes, he gave them that special interest. And even when it costs, if I recommend saying that, you can't afford too much, he would also give substantial discounts. So I think I had a good relationship. So most of my patients, the president, the Prime Minister Narasimha Rao, so all the business people, everybody I could send. In one of those days, in 1979, when I recommended a patient who was a very young chap whom I recommended for surgery. The surgical date was in October. Unfortunately, on November 9th, 1979, I lost him, leaving behind a 31-year-old wife, 4-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son, absolutely stunned and grieving. You know why? He couldn't raise $50,000. I thought to myself, how many are going to die? It is because they can't afford this kind of money. If it's from heart or all other illnesses. So I think we should do something about this. But then I didn't know, what it was. So I decided. Everybody in Madras said, no, nothing can be done. It's all in the Delhi. The center must, alter all these proposals. What you are talking about. So I got into the plane. Will you believe me? That was my second trip to Delhi. First, as a student, I went as a visitor to Delhi. Next, I went with this vision. I won't say this vision, with this mission to see what can we do to bring this type of healthcare. What is it visiting? Number one, the customs duty was so high that even if you buy it, again, I'll have to charge not $50,000, at least I have to charge $25,000. So why should they pay that kind of duty? And who can bear this? So I went back. Finally, I could have, I was fortunate through the general secretaries, I could have a hearing from the great lady, Indira Gandhi. And I told her, not first day, second day, third day only, she gave me a chance to talk. So I said, there are two people who get good health care, the powerful and the rich. The powerful, the rich guy, doesn't matter what it costs, he'll go everywhere in the world to get good care. The powerful guy will get an Air India ticket free, and you will pay your expenses will be borne. But what about all other people? 95% of the other population have no access to good health care. And some of these could be done. And I think then she gave me, I guess I'll meet you. From the Dharma Darshan, I had a real darshan, had an interview with her. And she was impressed, called the private secretary, Rao Sahib, Krishnasamy Rao Sahib, was the private secretary. He told, saying, I like what he's talking about. And if he can do something about and change and bring this level of healthcare, let's do it. Find out what all we can do. So I think I've narrated to him, and he threw me to the health secretary, and it all happened. But it was not easy. I'm saying in few words. But
I know. So I'm kind of not just impressed. Yeah.
It trips to Delhi to the bureaucracy then. Imagine bureaucracy 4 decades ago, how it was. It was not easy to convince the bureaucracy. Finally, it all got done. If I have to thank one person other than the great lady, I must say Pranab Mukherjee, who later on became President of India. He was then the finance minister. He listened to all this and told the finance secretary, I want this to be done. If you can't do this, I'm not fit to be finance minister of India. So the finance secretary dragged me to his room and gave me a letter sanctioning the 50% of the loan by banks, 50% of the foreign exchange loan I can get. That was the beginning of my first 150-bed hospital in Chennai. But with the way that the entire team, the doctors, the nurses, the paramedics, the entire team, with our simple concept, our concept was very simple, saying patient first. Everybody should work around the patient. So we brought in a new culture. And I think that's what we are today. We started with 800 family members. Today, I have over 120,000 Apollo family members who are doing all of these. Because of them, we are what we are today. It is from 150 beds and a single hospital. Today, we have over 70 healthcare facilities across the country. We have more than 200 clinics. We have so-called family clinics. And we have this retail healthcare facility. We have 4,500 pharmacies. And then the home healthcare, the medvarsity to train people, and to give them the ultimate final finishing touches before they get into the profession. And we have 2 medical colleges today in India, and one in Hyderabad, one in my native district, Chittoor, and one in UK, medical school in UK. Now we have granted a medical university last month. We're going to formally inaugurate the university next month. So I think we have grown apart from the hospitals. Today, we are probably one of the largest healthcare sector, healthcare Apollo, compared to anywhere in the world. We have touched the lives of a large number of people, over 200 million people's lives in one way or the other, either through the hospitals or through the clinics or through the pharmacies or home healthcare. In all of these, I think we have made a significant impact to become one of the.
I interrupt you kind of to learn a little bit more about your journey and have my viewers also appreciate the steps that are taken with the sustained vision in spite of all the hurdles or obstacles that one can imagine, starting from bureaucracy to there are several issues which one encounters even in a small project. My question to you, you are rightly referred to as architect of modern healthcare in India. And now looking at it from the point of view of the model as a business model or from the point of view of an entrepreneur, so this is slightly like public-private partnership, if I say that, will that be correct? That is one. Secondly, what was it that you did different than others, which helped you provide it on affordable cost without getting out of the business? Because many times, if it is just getting the to the question of surviving, then you won't grow the way it has grown. So if you can kindly help us understand the
I
part.
think Ashok, you put a very nice way, the way you put things. Let me say one thing. My philosophy, my aim then was to create healthcare facilities that is available for people anywhere in the world. So whatever we have done, talk about cardiac surgeries. I think we today have done the largest number of cardiac surgeries anywhere in the world. Cleveland Clinic. I'm sure we are equal or more than that. But more important that in healthcare is not the number. It is the clinical outcomes. Our clinical outcomes are equivalent to the best centers anywhere in the world. But what is important was on that day, because I lost that young man, because he couldn't raise that kind of money. So we were always conscious that without cutting quality, how can you make cost effective? So clinical excellence with cost effectiveness is the typical word. I won't say Indian healthcare is cheap. I would say Indian healthcare clinically is equally the world class, but we made it very cost effective so that more and more people can afford it. From primary to secondary, especially when it comes to tertiary and quaternary care. Today I have a proton center. In the world they charge close to $200,000 for proton therapy. We charge not even a fourth of that. So this is how we made it available. But the treatment level, it's not, the doctors I have, the supporting staff that I have, their aim is to create, not to just cure the patient, to be able to give them the same that could be available for them anywhere in the world. This is what I have supported them. Not only me, the entire Apollo backup facilities supported them with whatever professional trainings that were required for them, whatever technology that is required for them. It is what really made Apollo from day one to be, and this is where I think continuously, there's greater and greater availability of technology, other resources, which made a difference in care. For example, if you talk today, the artificial intelligence, the data matrix, 3D printing, robotics, all of these have made a very significant difference. This is what we adopted, each one of these. See, we never spared any time the cost of upgradation, either technology or resources upgradation. This we constantly looked at. But we were also aware that, you can't make huge margin. We are not jewelers to make huge margin. So this is where we kept ourselves. And also I'm a corporate. I'm responsible for my investors. So I'm a corporate responsibility to have. So what we normally do is we say we should get close to 16 to 18% PAT. Mm-hmm. Out of that, 50% will be given to the investors who made this possible. The other 50%, we keep back 25% as a reserve. 25% we give as a bonus for the people who work. That 50% we use for upgradation. This is how we continuously grew from 150 beds to whatever we are today. And because of greater and greater trust the institutions had in us. Because, as I said, the first bank loan took me several months and so many times. I don't think I went to any bank from that day. The bankers have trust because the trust that they have developed in us. That we are now not only receive money, we pay them promptly and on time or before time. So that credibility makes a big difference.
Yeah. So Dr. Reddy, listening to you is, I think, is a blessing. When I say that it's a blessing, and I'll share, it's not a secret, but it is very rare to be sitting with someone who is very soon going to complete 9 decades of being here with so much agility, alertness of mind, and ability to retain so many information. And not only that, a mind which is inquisitive and which is effortlessly familiar with artificial intelligence, to corporate responsibility, to the commitment for the investors. And indeed, I draw your attention, Dr. Reddy, to another side, which is also visible in the way you could inculcate the kind of spirit through your training and through your communication skills in people who are taking care of different branches of Apollo hospitals to maintain the same standard of service. So my request to you, apart from your medical knowledge, there is something subtle which one keeps you young, a second which helps you in convincingly conveying the spirit and the focus that you have behind establishing this Apollo hospital. Kindly share that with us.
So you and me have been created by the same Brahma. So, but he has given us that spirit. I think when you are involved in saying that you would like to do this and then you enjoy what you are doing and you see the benefits of that passing on, first a few hundreds of people, few thousands of people, now few millions, and couple of 100 million people are being benefited one way or the other through the various services, like our telemedicine services, goes to the remote villages in India. That makes you feel happy. And this is where when you see there is something more that's available for us. I've got people. First, I have my first bedrock is my 4 daughters. My first daughter is Preeta. She's the vice president. My second daughter is Sunita. She's the managing director of the group. My third daughter is Shobana. She's the executive vice president. And my youngest is the joint MD, Sangeeta Reddy. First, they started as people working without salary. So I had free services of this for the first few years. Before starting the hospital, after starting the hospital, I think they got the spirit into them. So today, each one of them have made a significant impact. When I talk about them, I think when I said it is 800 became 120,000 today, I think that spirit was passed on. So the moment they come into Apollo, they say good morning Apollo or namaste Apollo. And from then on, they think, what can I do for my patient? How can I serve him better? How can I give him more than what we gave yesterday? So I think this is a constant thing. So I owe everything else. They keep on giving me all these achievement awards. But what I receive them not because of me. It's no longer me. It is this large family that we have to the last mile. Who 120 of them, 1,000 of them, who receive, who on their behalf, I receive all these awards. Even today, in this global channel, if I am able to talk, it is not because of me. It is because of the excellent work that they've all done as a family, as a team, and achieved all this, and then made a significant impact that today Indian healthcare is second to none. There are very few people who still are not aware of this, but I think everybody should be aware today that it is not just Apollo. There are over 200 other hospitals today. Whatever transformation I could bring those days in 1983, my first hospital opened by then President Dale Singh, who had his bypass with the dental coolie. When he saw the hospital, he said, "Oh, acha hai, is not available in Houston. Here you have it here." Like this. He went on, he threw his speech, and he went on comparing our hospital with this. So I think that everybody got that spirit of it, saying that we are not here to do one better than what was yesterday. What is better than the best centers anywhere in the world. Whatever is best in healthcare, we must be able to give it to that people. Keeping constantly saying, we must make it cost effective. It's not cheap. Make it cost effective. So this is why I have said it is the united, togetherness, that we have done.
So I will bring back your focus on a lot of achievements which will not get you the kind of awards that people notice for which you go on the stage. But I think the way you raise your all daughters and who are not just committed to the same spirit and serving in excellent fashion, that is also another award which I think deserves to be underlined. But for now, I think as you have seen, um, the healthcare changes in India. There were no angiographies, and then cardiac surgery, and then structural heart disease interventions, and minimal access cardiac surgery. So all these you have not just seen, you have been instrumental in making that happen in India. Where do you see we are going? And as I bring again to the present government's focus and Ayushman and the approach that government have, which in spirit resonates with the spirit that brought you back from USA somewhere. So where is it that we are heading as far as health care in India is concerned? Your take.
Ashok, I'll come back from your last sentence. What did the government do? Ayushman Bharat. I think we must compliment the government. Their intention is that the last person in the remotest part of India should get excellent health care. So that Ayushman Bharat health insurance scheme, which gives 500,000 rupees free treatment for the family per year. It is so, it's a tremendous effort. So I think we must now consider saying, you forget that whether you are private or public healthcare, and very typically, I now quote now what you have seen. I don't know if you have heard from your friends during COVID attack. When COVID came, the manner in which the public healthcare, the governmental healthcare, and the private healthcare stood together and then faced this huge, pandemic, which we have never ever seen in the last 100 years, something like that. I think that is a very typical example of the big transformation that took place 40 years ago until today. At that time, private has nothing to do with public. Today, it is a common thing that both should work together. And I'm very happy the governments have supported me throughout, and today's government is very supportive. We'll come back to that, what all they are doing to now not only promote good health for all its people through Ayushman Bharat and encouraging the private enterprises and developing all of these healthcare institutions. As I said, we have 2 or 3 medical colleges, but the government of India aim is from 540, how can we double this number in the next 3-5 years? So I think the whole thinking is different. So I won't take credit for this. I take credit saying I'm happy that I began this transformation, and today it has taken off in a giant manner. What I did as a small tick today is running into pages and into the space. So that's what's happening. You touched about what we achieved in cardiology, because people are all jealous whenever I talk about cardiology, saying, Dr. Reddy, you did Apollo because you lost that young man. But in everything else, as I said, in transplants, we are soon going to announce. We're going to be a few days ahead. We've already touched 20,000 transplants, starting with heart transplant to liver transplant to liver and kidney transplant, pancreatic transplant, in all the renal transplant. In all of these, our numbers are because we're able to serve that many people. And I was able to do all the transplant because the government allowed what is called the cadaver organ transplant transformation. I took that to work. But then it all happened, because they trusted Apollo. They trusted saying this type of healthcare will go back to the common man and will make a difference for people's lives. So I think whatever we did in the last 3 decades, it is going to make a very important impact during this decade. You know what this decade is? Everybody will never thought that we will never remember this decade with COVID-19. But something else has been warned by World Economic Forum, WHO, UN all warned saying the world is going to face with a huge crisis called non-communicable disease crisis.
Yes, yes.
You know what non-communicable disease? Again, it starts with my favorite thing, cardiology. Heart attacks. Heart attacks in India is not like heart attacks in America. In America, heart attacks get for people who are above 50 or 60 or 70, but it used to happen in 30s. When I was started my practice, I had 7-8 patients in 1970s. And when I presented the American College of Cardiology, saying Indians get heart attack at an young age, he said, Dr. Reddy, don't be foolish. They don't know their date of birth. I said, don't be foolish. They not only know the date of birth, they know star under which they're born. Then, we don't know that Indians and Asians especially get heart attacks early enough because of some, 400 years ago, there was a famine which changed the genetic formation. So similarly, today, we are seeing heart attacks between 30 to 50. Now I'll say it's come to even to 27. The other day we had a 27-year-old. 27-year-old had a heart attack. Unfortunately, he couldn't reach the hospital. So now we have the first time ambulances in the country called 24/7, 1066 numbers. So we made for all people in the country, any medical or surgical emergencies, wherever Apollo hospitals are there, if they want to come in, our ambulances are free. What is the special of our ambulance? Our ambulance, both the people, as the person at the wheel and the supporting person, both are trained to give healthcare at the spot. So they are first trained by Stanford. Today we train them. So I'm thankful to Stanford for the initial trainings that they gave for their emergency technologies. But today, my ambulances are 5G connected with teleconnectivity. You won't believe it. I don't know how many countries have this. But we have all of these now in India available. But people don't know this even now. So they think of it, I wish I'd called for the ambulance. I would have come here earlier enough if it's a brain hemorrhage. Second is the strokes. Strokes again are occurring at an early age in India. And the third, which is very common, is the diabetes. I think unfortunately the diabetes is the cause of several other problems. That is the third non-communicable disease. The fourth one is the most dreadful thing, the cancer. So that's why I know everybody says, Dr. Reddy, you are spending a lot of money on furnishing your cancer hospital. Like put up a proton center, a proton hospital, first in this part of the world. Even UK did not have it. We were ahead of UK in proton. We put a beautiful center equivalent to the best center anywhere in the world. It is not because in India it is a little cheaper. The same pencil beam, same. If you walk into the hospital, the whole ambience and everything back up will be the same as you would go walk through any of your American hospitals. So I think this is what we have created for up-market oncology. Then other infections. So they need to take, those days they gave smallpox vaccinations. We all took those. Then the polio, they eradicated polio. Now we are facing this vaccination program for COVID-19. So I think all of these are very important. I need to add two more to this 5 non-communicable disease. That is the obesity. You say in India are there obese? There are people who are starving. Yes, there are some people who are starving, but there are large number of people. Percentage may be less than US, but large number of Indians are obese, especially women. So I think the obesity and mental disorders, as the age is passing through, that mental confusion and mental disorder is another two which I'm adding. I think this decade, they have defined saying by end of 2030, 80% of the deaths will be from these non-communicable diseases. And there's another startling thing which you hear, which baffled us, that it's going to cost the world $40 trillion and it will cost India $4 trillion. What can we afford $4 trillion? I've been pleading with the health ministers, finance ministers, planning commission, and the prime minister to increase the healthcare allotment from 1% to 3%. So they're doing their best. Even now, This year they've almost doubled, the expense in somewhere or the other on healthcare. So this is happening.
So I interrupt you again just to get other side of your mindset. When I say mindset, while we are talking about good health, and you also mentioned about now many young men, even in their 20s, are having heart attack or heart problems. And so there is something about our lifestyle, in addition to the medical facilities, which results into the quality of life health-wise we have. And I will also take this opportunity of sharing my thought that if there was an award like top 10 intellectuals of the world in this era, I think your name would surface there also, because you look at so many issues and you try to find a harmony, and you don't want to get stuck with the problem. You have a solution oriented mindset. I think that is very, very important. I want to request you to share what is it that has helped you in staying fit physically, mentally, some food habits, some regular rituals or routine that you have. Any advice on this particular aspect of how we should structure our life to stay fit?
I think you put a very important thing. The concept of preventive healthcare or staying healthy should be the very important thing, because most often people think of healthcare only when they fall sick. I think it's about time that the world realizes, I think to a very large extent, this COVID-19, whatever damage it has done, at least people now are caring to think, how can I stay healthy? How can I get to prevent myself? How can I improve my, the tolerance levels in all of this? Let me tell you, I'm a diabetic, I'm a hypertensive, I have a cardiac problem, all of these. But I look after all of these. My blood sugar this morning is as normal as anybody else's, yours and mine is the same, Ashok. So I think, I look after my diet, I do my regular exercises, and take necessary medicines. So I think the preventive healthcare has to play a very significant role. And this is also very close to my heart. I must also tell you that the first preventive health checkup in the world has been done by me way back in 1974, along with one of the pathologists from US. He was a good friend of mine. When he visited me, I said, look, I'm seeing patients with heart attacks, diabetes and its complications. Why I cannot detect early and prevent the progression of these diseases? So this is what it started. I called it then Master Health Checkup. Then when it became Apollo Health Check. Today, we're using artificial intelligence. We have a product which is called Pro Health, Apollo Pro Health. We have patented that thing because Master Health Checkup, everybody copied it, but they copied the name, but they didn't do the proper testing and advice for people to stay healthy. So I think stay healthy should become the sign. The most important thing is you need to know your state of health. This is where our Pro Health will help. And people always think saying, spending for their checkup, they think it's an expenditure. You should not think it's an expenditure. You must think it's an investment into my health, investment in my life, because I will know what is my state of my health. I will know what are my risk factors, how to avoid the risk factors becoming a disease pattern. So I think this is very important. And so please tell everybody, tell the media very clearly that medical expenditure is not expenditure, it's an investment. Preventive health is an investment, going to your exercise, going to health club, all this is an investment, not as an expenditure. So I think
I'm tempted to ask you about your reading habits. Do you love reading? Any role model, someone who you consider has inspired you?
I think I read anything that's happening on what's happening in the healthcare field. What are the newer things that are available for people? and immediately call our teams to discuss, saying, have you thought, probably they have read it before me. Yes, they, now how can we make this happen? I think that helps me to bring back. I love, like everybody else, I love to watch some movies. Once a week, maybe I watch a movie. And I have my spirituality thing. I do my regular pujas and things like that. So I think that keeps me busy. And the fact that you do something keeps you, your focus is a little more on that than doing something else. But,
I'm actually so much excited and inspired sitting with you. And we talked about how to be focused on preventive side of medical benefits. And now, while one feel a sense of enthusiasm surging in him or her, there is additional joy. I think that is conductive or what is inductive. When someone is around you, probably they feel charged that when he's thinking like this, the current waves of your thoughts, I think, inspires your team members. But now when we are looking at New India, and we hear Prime Minister Narendra Modi referring to Amrit Mahotsav as another way to look at the potential of India with a fresh perspective. So you have also always believed in the power of New India. How do you see Indian healthcare is likely to play an important role? And we also hear a lot about medical tourism and a lot of people coming to India. So overall, in the international scheme of things, the position of India as per your perception?
I think continuously, I must say, I had the the goodwill of the political leaders who have a great state government and the central government who are supporting the healthcare, whether it's private or public healthcare, and especially the central government today. When I wrote to the government saying that India could become healthy, happy, and wealthy, I gave two suggestions for that. First suggestion was that India could become global healthcare destination. But the Prime Minister and the Health Ministry, everyone, they all acted. You're going to hear our Prime Minister is all talk so much about heal in India today, because it is not just a talk about the Prime Minister or the Health Minister. They're actually put in place the various guidelines how India could become one of the major healthcare destinations of the world to get healed. Already, Poro receives patients from more than 100 countries, But still, there are a lot of people who do not know that Indian healthcare is today as good as the best centers anywhere in the world, and it's a cost effective. I think this is what they need. And then there's a lot of hazards in getting medical visa, a lot of problems on people on arrival. You won't believe, in less than a few weeks, the government of India has cleaned up the whole thing called Heal in India Today. It's a great program with over 32 steps. And they are now going to tell the world that India is now ready to give the best healthcare that anybody needs, whether it's a tertiary or a quaternary healthcare. But more importantly, they will also give our ancient traditional medicine, yoga, Ayurveda. All of these could be given. This is how it's called Heal in India. And I admire this because if a patient comes to me, let's say for a transplant, for a liver transplant, or a heart transplant, he does that with me. He's with me for a week or 10 days. After 10 days, I'll send him to one of these centers today, which are developing very rapidly in the country. These centers, naturopathy centers. They will go there, and 2 weeks they spend there. They probably would have spent $10,000-$15,000 with us. They spend another $6,000 there. Total together, they have spent still very small amount, but gained a lot. First, cured from their illness. Second, they got this health, the yoga, meditation, follow the ancient traditional system of staying well. I think this is a very important thing what the government of India has done. So I must admire the government for the rapid steps that they're implementing now. As I said, you all are going to hear. Prime Minister has already announced, and I think this is going to be one of the, I believe, even in our Independence Day, he will make much more steps how India could become for the world a major healthcare destination by telling people, hey, today it is not when India was in healthcare was 40 years ago. Today, Indian healthcare, whether you need a heart transplant or you need a heart surgery or you need a structural heart TAVI or one of these, it's available for you. And with the same, with the cost effectiveness. And in support of this, you can also stay healthy by spending a week or 10 days in the other center. So I think this is going to go to the world. The government of India is making that effort so that from origin of the patient, his visas are smooth, his travel is smooth, he receives well, then the hospitals will take all this care and will give this. So I think you are going to see this transformation. You asked the right question at the right time.
So another right question with a right quote from Swami.
And word is heal the world. This one was, I wanted to call it saying India should become global healthcare destination. But
Absolutely.
now I'm convinced with the government and the Prime Minister and the Health Minister that India should be called heal the world.
Wow. I appreciate that. And I was just recollecting, listening to you, the quote from Swami Vivekananda, where he says that sacrifice and service are the national ideals of Bharat. I think you have also imbibed that having sacrificed a comfortable set of life with less number of challenges, you ventured into another track and also you have served in several ways other than as an entrepreneur, as a physician. Would you be kind enough to share something about your thoughtful philanthropic areas that has moved you to take some action and where you have done significant contribution?
And so my love is still towards my place of birth. I say my village is called Aragonda. In English, it's called Half Mountain. There is a belief that when Lord Hanuman was carrying the Sanjeevani, a piece fell there.
Oh wow!
And the statue of on the top of the mountain. So today it's become a big pilgrimage center. So I come from that village. So what I have done was that entire mandal, which is about 170 hamlets, about 70,000 people, I adopted all of them from first breath to the last breath. So the program is called Total Health, not only physical, mental, social, ecological, and spiritual health. So the moment a lady is pregnant, we take care of her. We already know all these 70,000 people, their medical records are completely with that. And there are 2 vans with 6 doctors who go around all these villages. Every second, third day, they go to each of these villages. They come and get the checkup. Beginning, even if you go to their house, the lady will say, I'm not there. But today, they don't go to the house. They camp outside a few villages. They go there. They enjoy saying they're not only staying healthy, they're happier with it. So I think we have done that. The moment that she becomes pregnant, we take care of her, give her 2 meals a day, and correct all her diabetes and all of these conditions. And the delivery is done by us. Will you believe? Even Government of India is now looking at how that last 2-3 years, there is 0 infant and neonatal and maternal mortality. It's hard to believe, but it is true because the delivery is done by our team. And we give the mother meals for another 2 years when she's feeding the child. And the child gets meals for 5 years. 5 years, 2 meals a day. Now, during school, we look after them. So we look after the school children, and then we have no college in the mandal. Up to high school there is. Then they go wherever they go. But then those who have not dropped out from college, who have no jobs. We have also created skills training centers. And then they stitch, they do other skill things and produce things, which most of it Apollo itself will buy, because we are buying for somebody else. So these people, a few crores they buy a year, each of them will make 10,000-20,000 rupees in extra, which is a wonderful thing for them. And they have a nice meal in the afternoon and meet each other. And then for elder people, we do a lot of things. Another wonderful thing that we've done for these elder people, our orthopedic team have established a hospital in the name of my parents, my cousins and me. We put together a hospital in the village. Today, that hospital, our orthopedic team went and did for 500 pilot and knee transplants. Can you believe it? People from US are coming to other countries because knee transplant is very expensive. It's being done in my village with zero infection rate. So this all sounds impossible for you, but you must come and see all of this.
I was thinking I will come. I will come and see.
By going to my village, every few months I go there, speak to the people, listen to them what they would want. The ASHA workers are great teams. All of them. We work not that they are different class, different age groups. I mix with all of them, and I think that probably gives me a little extra healthcare, better health.
Absolutely amazing talking to you, Dr. Prathap Reddy ji. I think Padma Bhushan and several international awards that have come your way, we didn't talk about that, but we did talk about that which is flowing in you, which is most precious, and which you are generously sharing with everyone in the form of the spirit to serve and a sense of consideration and sustained focus. As we conclude this remarkable conversation, which is a privilege for me as well as for Channel ITV Gold.
For all your US, I want to tell something. I want them to all understand that preventive healthcare is very important. Like our Pro Health now, which I have launched now, to find out your state of the health and your risk factors. And remember that healthcare expenditure is an investment into a good health. That's the second. Third is they must experience what Indian healthcare really is by finding out from their relatives, referring their relatives. Like we look after a lot of non-resident Indians relatives here. We have a whole program for them. The clinics, our home care team goes to there. Our doctors visit their place. Our 24/7 we have a channel. If they want a medicine, you want a blood test. If all of these, they can order picking up a phone. All of these are available. So I think they should send patients. Especially I want Indian doctors in US to send a few patients, especially in quaternary care in India, enjoy what the transplant or other healthcare that they have, plus what government of India is now offering, Heal in India, and get that experience. Then they will know what truly Indian healthcare has transformed itself. It is only Apollo, only a small banyan tree. Today, it's a huge shelter for health by all of them. There are at least 200 good hospitals in the country, which anybody from anywhere in the world can come and safely have. It's not just Apollo. Apollo, yes, for the first, we started the whole thing. But I'm happy that the whole thing has been picked up. It has become a nice play today, saying, let's start a good hospital. So you hear about it quite often, and that's what we are. And I want to give my good wishes to all your listeners, give them good health, and ask them saying, take care of your health, stay well, stay healthy.
Thank you very much. Padma Bhushan, Chairman of Apollo Hospitals, Dr. Prathap Reddy, joining us, and I will give away his date of birth, which is 5th February, and the year was 1933. So I just underlined that to inspire us. It is not the number of years, it is how you have lived that matters. And there is no other better example in front of us than Dr. Prathap Reddy to learn from. Wishing 100 more years of active and passionate healthy life for you, and not only commending you on your total health program, but overall remarkable, exemplary journey. With lots of regards, pranams. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you, Ashok. I'm very happy that Sudhir Bhai made this all possible. I'm very happy. God bless all of you.
Thank you
My
once
good
again.
wishes with all your families, you and your families.
Thank you.